Hi, it's Oz again, and in this video I'm going to quickly demonstrate the Ant Judge and Jury software, and because this is such a simple tool, it's going to be a really short video. Now all we really have to do is copy and paste. So you go to your Google keyword tool, which I have here, you enter in your target niche there. I've already entered computers, which is one of the super hot niches that we had earlier in the letter. So I've used this for familiarity. So you enter computers there, which I've already done. Make sure you've selected all three broad match types, broad, exact, and phrase, which I've done. Then you click your search button, which I've already done, but I'll do it again. And then once the Google keyword tool returns your data, which it has done here, all you have to do is copy and paste the search volume for broad, phrase, and exact. I prefer to use the global monthly, but you can use local if you want to. Just make sure you're consistent. So if you're using local, always use local for all three match types. Right. So I'll copy the broad match and paste it in this field for broad match. Come back, do the same for my phrase and put that in there. And I'll do the same for my exact. Copy. Sorry. What happened there? Copy and paste that there. Okay, then the next thing is we're going to copy the name of the niche. So let's do, okay, so we copy computers now. You can also type these if you want to, but I'm such a slow typer that I prefer to copy and paste because it's much faster for me. And that's it. You've done all the hard work, copy and pasting. And the final thing you need to do is click the verify button, which we have here called verify, but in the software we've changed it to judge it because this is Ant Judge and Jury, but here it's verify. So I'll click that and boom, I've got this green bar here which tells me that this is a lucrative niche. The only other thing to show you really is the very simple settings screen, which you don't have to touch because the default values are okay. So here you can see it. We've got the threshold values for broad XP and phrase XC, and we tell you all about these in the Ant Judge and Jury blueprint. So you can use the default, but if you wanted to, you can change them, and you could maybe use broad XP in addition to your phrase XC, or use it in isolation. I've used phrase XC in isolation. Okay, so let's quickly look at another niche here. So if I scroll down, I can see some other niches, but I spotted one that I know is not a lucrative niche, and that is Falcon Computers. So what I'll do is let me reset that. So I'll say yes, I want to reset that. Then I'll come back here and I'll copy the data for Falcon Computers. So I'll go into the broad, which is that one, and I'll put it in there. And the phrase is that one. I'll put it in there. And my exact is that one. And I'll put it in there. Then let me type in Falcon Computers this time. Okay. Now I know that these volumes here are low, but that's not why this is going to fail. It's going to fail because the phrase XC is low, and I'm going to show you that. So I'll click the verify button again. And you can see that is red. And if you look here, the phrase XE is only 18%, but our threshold here is 40% for orange and 51% for green, so that's why it's red. Okay, so that is all there is to Ant Judge and Jury, and you're going to learn about the concept and why this is so important and why it works and what all these different numbers here mean, the phrase XC, broad XC, and broad XP. Okay, so that is it. Oz here. Thanks for your time. Bye. Hi, it's Oz again, and in this video I want to quickly show you the power and importance of retrieving the long tail keywords for your target niche, and why it's a much better approach than targeting the target niche or the target keyword, which is what most people do. Right here now, sorry, excuse me. Right here now we're in the Google keyword tool, which I guess you're very familiar with. And one of the super hot niches that we had on the sales letter for Ant Judge and Jury was lose weight. And it has a phrase XC of 90% plus. Now, what I have here in the Google keyword tool is the broad, the exact, and the phrase match search volumes for lose weight. I could also have this in Ant Judge and Jury, but I wanted to show it to you here to save time. Right, so for lose weight exact match, it has only 40,000 global monthly searches a month. The phrase has 3.35 million, and the broad has 9.14 million. So if you were targeting just the target keyword or the target niche, the most you would ever get would be 40,000. So what I've done here is I've used the Google keyword tool to retrieve the long tail keywords, and I show you how to do that in the Ant Judge and Jury blueprint. And let's see what happens after we've retrieved all the keywords for lose weight and totaled up the volume for those long tail keywords. Okay, so here we are, and I hope you can see it. So what I've done is basically exported all the long tail keywords, which you can see in this column, and you can see they're all exact match only. And the total volume that we have from Google Keyword Tool is 1 million. Okay, so compare the 1 million here to 40,000 that we have for the target keyword itself. There's basically no comparison. And of course, I don't expect you to be able to get the entire search volume for all the long tail keywords, but even if you got only 10% of that, that was still 100,000. Okay, so this was using the Google Keyword Tool. But using Ant Rescuer, which I'm going to demo very quickly in a moment. Okay, let's go back to the Google Keyword Tool first. And let me do that again. Okay, right. The maximum number of keywords that you will ever get from the Google Keyword Tool is 800, because that's a hard limit. So the keywords that I just showed you here, if we go back there, okay, you can see that there are 801 rows. The first row being the header row at the top, which I can show you here. Okay, and then the sum. Okay, but if we go to Ant Rescuer, that Ant Rescuer has retrieved 1,400 results for me. And when I've exported these back into the Google Keyword Tool to get the search volume, I then put them back into Excel. This is what I get: almost 1.6 million, and that is even disregarding all these keywords here that Google tell us has no volume, and which is wrong in many cases. So a lot of these keywords here do have volume, but Google is telling us there's no volume. And also at the top, there are lots of other keywords that Google is telling us have no volume. So basically, this number down here, 1.5 million, is just for the keywords that we've retrieved that Google tell us has volume, and we can retrieve even more keywords than this. So basically what we've done now is gone from 40,000 for lose weight to 1.6 million if you're going to use Ant Rescuer to retrieve your long tail keywords, or 1 million if you're going to use the Google Keyword Tool. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So I'm going to go back to the Google Keyword Tool, and I have mentioned in this sales letter that the Google Keyword Tool is unreliable. So let's look at another niche that we have in that spreadsheet on the sales letter for Ant Judge and Jury, one of the low profile niches, so to say, and that is clothing alterations. Now, trying to retrieve the phrase XE long tail keywords, which I show you how to do in the blueprint for this niche, gives you zero long tail keywords. Okay, even though there are long tail keywords for this niche, but the unreliable Google Keyword Tool is not giving us any. So I'm going to remove this and try and retrieve. What I've tried to do is retrieve the phrase XE keyword tools. So now I'm going to try and retrieve the broad XE keyword tools, which will include the phrase XE as well. And I teach you all this in the blueprint, so don't bother trying to figure out what I'm doing. Okay, and we should have some results now, and we do. And most of these are actually phrase XE, which Google Keyword Tool failed to give us when we tried to retrieve them specifically. But now it's giving us 74 long tail keywords, and this is where the unreliability gets really annoying, because sometimes it gives me 40 for this same niche, sometimes it gives me 0 for the same niche doing exactly the same thing. Now it's given me 74. This is the most that I've ever got for this target niche that does have a very high phrase XC percent. So what I'm going to do now is go back into Ant Rescue, and now we'll do the demo and talk about the software. So I'm going to try and retrieve the long tail keywords for that same niche, coding alterations. Okay, so I click the retrieve, and as you can see over here, it's updated in real time and it's quite fast. But I want to keep this video as short as possible, so I'm going to pause it, then I'll come back when all the keywords have been retrieved and talk you through the software. So I'll see you in a second or so. Hey, I am back. I was hoping that would catch the last few results, but I was too slow. So anyway, Ant Rescue has finished and it's retrieved 783 results for coding alterations, which is the same niche that we looked at earlier at in the Google Keyword Tool. And let's do that again for good measure. And we got the sum total of 74 long tail keywords. So basically, we've increased the number of keywords by a factor of 10. And this is down to the unreliability of Google Keyword Tool. I've told you before, sometimes you don't even get any keywords for the same niche. Sometimes I've got 40. That is all in the last 24 hours because I've been trying this since yesterday. Okay, so, but you can still use it because you saw that for lose weight, it did give us up to 800 long tail keywords, which is the maximum that you'll ever get from the Google Keyword Tool. But anyway, now I'm going to talk you through the Ant Rescuer and show you what it can do for you. Right, in the sales notes, I talk about the different categories of keywords and that we have at least 5 categories. And in Ant Rescuer, we actually have 6. And the reason we have an extra one is that I've put the rearranged words on the broad XP as a category on its own, whereas in the sales letter and in the blueprint, I've combined it with the leading tail and the trailing tail. So you don't really need to bother about that very much. Right, so that's 6 categories here, and you can tell Ant Rescuer to retrieve the long tail keywords for all categories or for as few as you want. In this case, we've retrieved it for all categories, all 6. But if I wanted to retrieve for just say 2, I could deselect the ones that I wasn't interested in. Okay, and then click retrieve, and in this case, I'll get just the leading tail for phrase XC and the internal tail for broad XP. Or I could deselect broad XP entirely and just select phrase XC keyword. So that is pretty simple. I'm sure you know how that works. Okay, so basically you can tell Ant Rescuer to do specifically or retrieve specifically a category of keywords you're interested in, because sometimes you might just want the trailing tail of phrase XC, other times you might just want the rearranged words, depending on what you're doing. Like maybe if you were writing a Kindle book, or you wanted like headings for posts on your blog, stuff like that, you might just want the rearranged words, whatever. So after it's retrieved all your keywords, you can now select them with the checkboxes here. You can select them individually, like I am doing now, or you can just go to the top there and click that, and that will select everything for you. So this is all standard stuff. So what do you do after you've selected your keywords? Well, you want to export these keywords. In the Google Keyword Tool, you've got 2 options: either export in a shopping list format where you have each keyword on a separate line, or you retrieve in a CSV file format, which is what we have here. Okay, so all the data put into a CSV file. In Ant Rescue, you can do the same thing. You have at least 2 options plus a few others. Okay, and let me move this up a bit so that we can see that. Okay, right, so to export, here are the options. The CSV file, which is basically all these columns in the data grid exported to a CSV file. You've got the keyword only as text file. This is basically the shopping list format where each keyword is on a separate line, and this is useful if you're trying to, say, write content for these keywords and you want to give it to an outsourcer, a ghostwriter. You could basically select the keywords that you wanted content for, export it into a keyword only file, and send that to your ghostwriter. You also have the keywords in text file, comma separated. That is each keyword separated with a comma after it. So you'd have keyword 1, comma, keyword 2, comma, keyword 3, comma, keyword 4, and all that. This is useful for, say, anchor text if you wanted to use these keywords for the anchor text that you're using to build backlinks to your content. And we've also got the keywords in spin text format, which is for the same purpose if you're trying to create anchor text, but this time it puts them in spin text format. So when you use this, you can put it straight into your content that you're using with a spinner or with one of these backlinking tools that would submit your content to be it article directories or Web 2.0 sites. So you could select as many of the keywords that you wanted to use for your anchor text. And this is very important for anchor text diversity, because since the Penguin hit, you cannot use the same keyword for your anchor text. You can't even use the same few keywords all the time. You need to build in a lot of anchor text diversity, and this lets you do that. Then this is my favorite format. This basically allows you to export into WP easy content, and this is our WordPress plugin that allows you to create targeted quality content for all these keywords on autopilot. So once you click that and export to WPEG, you now go into WordPress, import the file that this rescuer has exported, click a few buttons, and basically you'll get content for all the keywords that you selected on autopilot. This is really powerful stuff. Then the other thing you can do with Ant Rescuer is you can use proxy settings or proxies if you want to. So we've got all that sorted for you, and that's it. So this is a really simple tool like Ant Judge and Jury. It does one thing and it does it very well, and there's no other tool that gives you the flexibility of this tool, because in the first instance you have all the categories that you can select, and if you start going down you'll see all the different categories for these keywords. Like here we've got the internal rearrange there for broad XP, so we've got the match type and we've got the keyword category. And now we've got phrase XC trailing, and you go down and you have broad XP rearranged words, and we have internal there. Okay, so that is it. I'm going to end the video now, and all this is talked about in the Ant Judge and Jury blueprint. But I wanted to give you a demo of what you're going to get if you decide to invest in Ant Rescuer. All right, it's my pleasure. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.